Welcome to the Reinvent You show. I'm George.
I'm Azlan. It's about seeing everyday challenges
Differently. This will get us in the mood.
I had no idea you were that competitive before me. How did you even live? I see your eyes on all I do. I see you squirm when I break through. Where am I?
Nice.
You should know I entered your mind through jealousy door. And here I am in the penthouse suite. Top of mind in your recliner seat. Living rent free.
Nice.
Rent free in your head.
So what I like about AI now is it allows me to change the lyrics in every section, but it redoes it, so it's not necessarily exactly the same melodic presentation, but I can run it on and on until it lands to a place where the phrasing and delivery is matching what I want.
Oh.
So if I change the lyrics, I run the risk of missing out on exactly the way it was that I liked. You know what I mean? With the changed words. But what I found is it gets good enough on, because it's always original. Like, you see, it's within the structure of that style of verse it compared to other verses in the song. But people don't understand that creativity. Remember, in imagination, it only takes one context shift to change something, you know? So, yeah.
So when you change the lyrics, does it mess up with all the other melodies? Because would it
No.
automatically calibrate?
It blends it beautifully.
Oh, wow.
Like, so now it's all color-coded sections like intro, verse, bridge, chorus,
Wow.
the next verse, right? And so I can literally click on one of those and then look at the lyrics and go, yeah, but I want this said differently now that I'm hearing it pronounced. And so I'll rephrase it and go, do it again. It's like, oh, shit, didn't deliver it as good as I'd want. Do it again. And it gives me two versions at a time until I land, then I go, all right, accept that. And then that fixes that section. So I've been able to get really fussy. That's why when you listen to that song, it's so polished.
Yeah. It's
Like
very polished.
all the phrases are bang on, everything, because I'll hear, oh, shit, she's rushing those lyrics because I made it a bit too wordy there. I'm gonna clean it up. I'm gonna cut it down so it just delivers with punch. So you're hearing something that feels incredibly like you wouldn't even bat an eyelid if it was on Spotify in the charts.
Yeah.
That song, you just wouldn't, would you?
That's so crazy. I didn't know there was that level of like fine tuning that you could do. I thought you just put it in and then you just keep like the whole thing and then you just keep pressing refresh and then you change the word and then it does the whole song again. So you got to wait. But I like the idea of being able to split it.
It used to be like that, and it was very annoying because you'd have something so good except for a few words, and it'd be a bitch to try to fix. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would really piss me off because it takes a while for it to do the whole song again.
Yeah, it did have editing for a while, but it was sloppy.
Yeah.
But now it's getting crisper, and this is only the beginning. What's going to happen in a year's time?
Yeah.
I think all the things that I wish I could do, they're just getting feedback from everyone. I reckon they just keep adding until I'm literally creating
Crazy shit.
exactly what I want, like to the T, which means it's as if I've got engineers, musicians at my beck and call.
Yeah.
Like at my fingertips, and I'm up to 104 songs now. It's like I'll probably create 2-3 songs a week as my pastime, my hobby, which means 3 times 50 weeks is 100. That's just
insane.
That's insane. I don't know if that's sustainable, because you get to a point where you've expressed so much of what you want
Oh, yes.
in different topics that
Yeah.
it becomes your body of work, and you'll only write the next songs once you've lived enough and start to see things differently enough so that there's a fresh perspective for a song.
I see what you're saying.
But for me, it was like a slingshot of my life with so much lived experience that I didn't express as much as I had to say through music, which means you stretch it out for like decades. I've got a body of work ready to pump through into music.
I know what you're saying.
So the fact that I could, in half a year, write 10 albums of music is only because of that slingshot.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I might only write an album or 2 a year, which is only 2 songs a month. To me, 2 songs a month is like eating ice cream. It's that easy. Like, it's nothing, because I could do 3, 4 a week.
What is your creative process? How did you come about? Like, when do you wait? So my creative process is I go for a walk, download. What's yours? Like, how do you get the inspiration to go, I want to do this song?
Yeah. I think what you're saying when you go for a walk, it really, when you quieten down, you start to feel. That feeling is what you're after. That pure feeling that is meaningful to you is what then guides the creative process. You can't create without feeling. Feeling is coded with depth of meaning that you unravel into an artistic form, right? So for me, that feeling can come from anything. Like, that feeling can come from, I turn around and I see the box of vitamin sachets that I bought called Celsius, right?
Right.
And then this happens. Now think about it. I see a box
Of vitamins.
of vitamins, right? And the word is what gets me.
Oh, so that's what triggers you. Triggers your your flow.
In that situation, it was just a word.
Damn.
And when I saw that word, I went, how that word is so good.
What's the temperature? Feels damn hot in here.
Celsius. I see what you did there.
Isolated and cold, sick of being told to get serious now and settle down. But pride died today when I heard your voice. Didn't know what to say, whether you felt the same.
Wow.
How does that even happen? A first sight encounter, and I am tripping. Hesitation, the blunder, almost lost you. Now to please you, I found the destination for my passion, and it's you.
What?
Yeah, you. In your presence, I fell for your essence.
Dude.
The degrees climb for you. You're so fine. You raise my Celsius. You raise it high.
One word. Boom.
You raise my Celsius.
It was so flowy and chilled and wow, I love that.
And I was after that Celsius feel, and I couldn't get it. And then it took me like 40, 50 tries to finally get to it.
You might want to, sorry, with your headphones, you can extend it here. Wait.
No, it's actually good.
Oh, it's good? Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, but like that word, as soon as I saw that word, I knew the meaningfulness in a song, because Celsius, temperature, hot, romance, like, and so I sat in that feeling, like that word, the word isn't enough. The word was cool, but I just knew that word is going to be awesome for explaining the heat of love and passion and excitement in a relationship, right?
Right.
And because I'm 54, I've had enough of lived experience with that. I could easily write an authentic song around 2 people meeting and, being into each other,
Yep.
And then, so what happens then is, and I train people in there. So it's good that I've spent so much time training people in creativity, how to lean in, feel, and purge. You got to purge what you feel. Don't be fussy what comes out, right? So I don't necessarily control linear. Sometimes it comes out linear, like from top to bottom.
Right.
But often it just keeps expanding in different areas of writing words, because that's what I'm feeling next. You see what I mean? You just got to let it out.
So you're sitting down after seeing that thing and you start your process.
I start writing
Right.
whatever I'm feeling, letting the words try to match what I'm feeling.
I like that.
Once it comes out as a purge, then I go to the next level, which is, how can I now distill it into great phrases for singing? How can I simplify it? You know what I mean? So it almost becomes your you're leveraging existing cliches and you're creating new cliches, because a cliche is just a really nice distilled phrase
Right.
that people can relate to, right? So basically, songs are generally just a lot of cliches stitched together,
Yeah.
you know? And so then say I'm hearing a soundtrack at the beginning of a Netflix show.
Yeah.
It just makes me feel something. And if the feeling is strong, I lose interest in the show, I press pause, and then
Wow.
I just lunge into my notes and start writing lyrics. And then the song's finished, I've produced it, and then I go back to the Netflix show
To watch it.
and a couple of hours later. But look, when you love something, anything that puts you in the mood to create it, you're going to prioritize that.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, so that's
The pull
what-
will be too strong for you to ignore it.
Yeah. So, for example, yesterday, a journalist from a university had left a written message about, she wanted to interview me about this whole culture of red-pilled, right?
What does that mean?
Yeah. So, well, yeah, I wanted to kind of get my head around it. But once I looked it up, I understood, and you'll understand. Red-pilled is the younger generation, especially guys who have jumped on the Tate bandwagon because they got sick of being emasculated. And now they see this guy who's all, like tough and great. And so now that they've swung too far the other way, and they've gone from passive to being aggressive and belligerent and arrogant and dismissive. And so it's like a toxic masculinity. So you've swung from passive masculinity, which is not exactly masculinity, it's diluted, to extreme masculinity, which makes it toxic. So you and I, we always talk about extremes, and you lose the value in the extremes, right? So once I understood this, I went, oh shit, I'm gonna write a song called Red Pilled.
My goodness.
So that was yesterday, and this is Red Pilled. Like, isn't it like, this is the point? It's like I'm writing my soundtrack of my life, almost like journal entries in music form.
Yes. That's how you process.
Yeah. But what it does is it distills my thinking. It gets me to understand.
Well, look at you, waking all up, seeing through the lies, getting unstuck.
So I'm tricking the listener here.
Aren't you proud? You no
How so?
longer play.
I'm hyping them up into thinking, yeah, that's me.
Now,
I'm red
out
pilled.
of the maze. Live with no mojo for way too long. Push to be passive. Something felt
Right?
wrong.
The young guy's going, yeah, that's right.
Got clear. Shook off your fear.
Yeah, I'm fearless now.
Wielding righteousness, word warrior is here.
There's a clue there.
Red pill to the truth. Red pill from who's playing you. Red pill out of the blue.
Out of the blue.
Red pill.
Nice wordsmithing.
You were all bad, now you're all good.
See?
Before you did nothing right, now you make
You've gone from one extreme where you did everything wrong. Now you think you're all right.
what you know.
I'm dropping the clues here.
Yeah, I see what you're doing.
Exposing the foes. Lived with no mojo for way too long.
Which is a legitimate problem.
Pushed to be passive. Something felt wrong.
It's unsustainable to be
You
passive.
got clear. Shook off your fear. Wielding righteousness, word warrior.
Now the Morpheus moment. Are you ready?
Red pill.
After this chorus, of course. Now you're thinking, what is this Morpheus moment going to be? It starts with, what if I told you? Right?
All right, I'm listening.
Here she comes. Yo, 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 yo.
Check, check. 1, 2.
What if I told you the blue pill reclaimed you? Russian doll layers kept you in the game.
Ooh.
There you go. questions, you're under the boot. Dogma traps and absolutes. Red pill exposes the cult convolutes. Live with no mojo for way too long. Push to aggression, what's going on? You got pseudo clear, swung to cocky from fear. Expecting righteousness to become your key.
You flip it around.
You got back in the blue, motherfucker.
It's like a trap.
Both sides playing you.
That is so interesting.
For endless get through.
You know, as I'm listening to this song, I can't help but realize there's one person that I know who's exactly like this. He was emasculated, and then he's now a avid Tate follower, and he's gone off the rails, man. Like he's completely gone 180, and his partner is like, "Who are you? Like, what is this?" You know.
And this is our dilemma with what happens in trying to be human and getting polarized, you know. It's so easy to get polarized. Like I can't judge people who are polarized when I'm sane. In other words, when I'm having a good day and I'm clear enough, I'm not judging people who are polarized because it's so easy for me to be polarized.
Yep.
So if I make peace with my polarization, it means I'm now getting out of the polarization because I'm no longer charged with needing to be negative or positive on something to an extreme.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that if I can program myself, which is a work in progress, if I can program myself to be triggered into balance whenever I notice I'm assuming something is all good or all bad. Like if I can stop just drinking the Kool-Aid that something is all good or all bad and just slow it down and decide to understand more deeply instead.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's I think then you're reaching for the red pill. You see, you're not reaching for the red pill when you suddenly realize that you're now awakened and everything is clear to you because it never ends.
So let me get this straight. So what's in it for you? Because you are making this conscious decision. Is it to be at peace with yourself, or like, you know, when you realize you're at the point where you want to judge someone, like, and then you take a step back, like you said, like what's in it for you by doing that? Because not many people would want to do that because it's too much work to like. It's easier to judge someone and feel good than to go, okay, guys, I want to deeply understand this.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, Azlan. And I really think it's because on the surface, it is easier. It is the quick, instant gratification. I'm backing away from something that's, you know, got conflict in it or whatever.
Yeah.
But when you have a life of fires that would go away if you stop feeding them. You see, if you don't know you're actually part of the fires, then you think you're just in a world with a lot of fire. But like, if you suddenly can get deeper in your relationships around there's innate goodness in everyone and that they're trying to represent it, but they're losing their way, it means you don't have to always put people in the all good or all bad box. Yeah. And so therefore, it becomes more meaningful to you when you are connecting to truth and representing your good nature, knowing how to lean in and let that person's good nature want to come out, but also, you know, your boundaries take care of that, right? So when you operate like that, suddenly that inner peace starts to mirror the outer peace in your reality because you walk knowing there's abundance for love and collaboration and cooperation.
So that's what's in it. Aligning with your principles.
And that's a big upside.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's huge. It's a different world. That's why I keep saying this. You know, I honestly think that sometimes I get carried away with myself because I'll come up with a phrase that I think is wonderfully enlightening, but no one ever bloody reacts to it in any meaningful way. And you'd think I'd find a better phrase, but it's like, what world are you in? When I ask that to anyone, what world are you in? I'm trying to say you can be in any world, but the world you think you're in, your trading is absolute when it can be easily changed. And we're in the wrong world when we're not enjoying our life.
Yeah.
And
well said.
Yeah. It's that simple. Because if we can't love our personal agency, like why are we designed, Azlan? Why are we designed with a brain and heart and body and an imagination and all that? Why have we got that toolbox that's so profound, and yet we're not joining the dots around the role of that power? Like, what? Come on, man! Like,
why you?
How does that not join in civilization, in society? Why aren't leaders talking about our children deserve to know that their imagination has a role to play in their purpose, in the way they engage, so that they're not tricked into lack? Why aren't these conversations in the fabric of our leadership?
I do not know, but you have a great point there. You don't necessarily, I don't think people even know it's a tool. Like, I think that's half the problem. But you're right. I mean, why isn't this being like addressed?
It's like
very interesting.
It's like we're a bit asleep, just surviving and just living in the roles, just as if life happens to you.
Yeah, to you, not from you.
Yeah, life happens to you, and you just got to do your best with it.
Like to survive. This picture of. I can just imagine this picture of you trying to swim, just getting your head up there, just to survive it. But you're not realizing that you can just step out of the pool and get into another one that's more fun, with better waves.
Yeah. And I feel like maybe 1% of the planet decided life can be what you create. But 99%, it falls away sharply at the 5% into average, It's like it's an exponential curve kind of thing, like where the majority sit in the middle. But like, it's funny. It's almost as if there are algorithms to this. Like, did you know that when you do customer service, and they did this, right? And the wow factor is what creates word of mouth, right? You can't please someone to a level of even up to 95% customer satisfaction, 96% satisfaction, because that's just like, oh, wow, these guys are cool. I really like this. And you walk away and you will come back because it was 96%. But there's a tipping point and they found out it's 97%. I don't know whether it's still the same, but they found out it was 97% back in the 80s or 90s. You know what happened at 97%? It hit wow. And when it hit wow, you wanted to tell people over dinner how good that service was that day with whatever provider. That's like breaking the sound barrier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I just feel like we are so can be traveling so close to extraordinary, but still be in the box of ordinary. And like I was saying earlier, it only takes a context shift to be a game changer. So that's why I have so much optimism for humanity. Like I actually every day, as much as I see that's horrible, I just feel humanity is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
We're headed in the right direction because I don't see it as a big hill to climb. I see it as context shifts of awareness that suddenly humanity realizes the world is very different to what they thought it was.
Yeah.
And it changes the way they feel, changes their decisions.
I agree. I think there's so much out there that teaches that's going on now with AI, even with law of attraction and stuff like that, putting you into your own power. And then all that, in that teaching itself, there's so many context shifts. I've had multiple moments where I went, oh, and it's coming out, man. Even leadership, everything is so exciting. I was telling my wife as well. I agree. Like it's so funny. Like some people are afraid of the future, but I am like you. I think there's so much great stuff going to happen. I'm so excited for my kid as well. You know, everything's changing. It's beautiful, man. But one thing that I wanted to address was this, you know, about being magnificent, like you said, was, man, like with your music, you know, when you post it online, you know, why I'm having this issue now where I've got all my stuff on TikTok and all the other ones, but where my friends are, 680 of them in Instagram and Facebook, I got thousands over of friends. I can't do it. Like I can't post it there, like for fear of, I don't know what it is. So I'm trying to find that context shift as to why that is so. And, you know, I looked up, you know, is it the fear of judgment? Is it self-acceptance? What is it? I mean, they all know me. They probably don't care. Like, you know how you said sometimes you find that word and you're like, you think everyone's going to react that way, but then nobody really cares.
Yeah. So it's funny. It's like you've got the logic that you should do it, but the subconscious has got the handbrake up. Yeah. And you don't know what rationalization or irrationalization as pseudo-logic that it's using to keep the brake up.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So with your music, have you got, like, what's stopping you from putting up on LinkedIn or your Facebook with your family? Like, there is always that. I spoke to another guy.
I do share it.
Oh, you do?
I do share it. I don't share everything. Like, I probably shared 20% of it on Facebook.
Wow.
Okay. But what I notice is that anything that is produced by AI, Facebook was trying to hide as because it's trying to catch up itself and it wants to hoard that space for itself.
Right.
So it doesn't want to promote too much its competitors. Secondly to that, people are worried that people's artistic ability is being marginalized if AI can create amazing things. The truth is, if you don't create from your lived experience, your heart, your own imagination, and use AI as a secondary tool, then you won't be really creating anything that meaningful, you know. But people it's going to take a while for people to start to realize machines, no matter how supposedly intelligent they will never really cut a new, genuine path with the level of soul and perspective and intuitive nuance that a human brings to something.
Because you're connected to the source, whereas AI isn't.
Yeah, and also like humans have the ability to quantum leap. They have this ability to dare to dream something outrageous outside of the algorithms and then innovate a way there. AI can only trade on past patterns and extrapolate a direction from the past. Yep. So it's rehashing, if anything. It's like when I laid down the lyrics that you were hearing, I forced AI to serve those lyrics, to serve those phrases in the structure. And I didn't need it to be that original for me. But what I did need it to do was deliver in the range that did justice to my words. And it does it 80, 90%, then I have to push it and push it and push it and use up a lot of credits to finish the job. Otherwise, to me, it's I'm hearing it, but I'm being distracted by the areas it didn't finish the job on. You know, so I will run 40 different versions of a verse to finally go, thank you, took you 40, but we got there. Now, who was the one who knew the feeling that recognized the one in 40? You know, it's like asking someone to sing a phrase in the studio and they get it wrong. You have to, look, I want you to feel this when you phrase. You know how you're hanging too much on this? Try it again. And you might do 40 takes, but you get there, but you're talking to the person. With AI, it's the same thing, except because it's cheap enough, you can just go, do it again. And then sometimes you can write instructions to get it in the right direction. And so you get there in this weird way. So really, I think creativity, it needs to be understood. It really does. And I think when it is getting understood, it will get to a place where people won't be so afraid and they'll use it as a tool. A very sophisticated tool, but a tool. But can we circle back to the fact that I have shared music, right?
Yeah.
And I've had people who loved it, and I've had people who got passive-aggressive on it and a bit aggressive because they generally are worried. Because musicians, artists are great. But the truth is, for me, I was willing to live that friction because I, for many years, Azlan, have asked many artists to collaborate with me. I knew I could write music. I knew I'd already written 5 in the past. But it takes a lot of resources, a lot of time. And most artists, they'll say yes, but they're not really interested, or even if they are, they're not that disciplined to just come through on it and collaborate and make it happen. So it's all well and good to say, oh, you're taking work away from artists. It's like, no, I can't even collaborate with artists very easily. I have to have a lot of money and I have to throw the money at them for them to be able to, which is fine if I had the money, but suddenly I'm not a good person because I'm using AI to produce tracks that blow my mind away, and I can write a song to my daughter for her birthday, and I can write a song to my dad, and I can, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Suddenly I'm touching my family's lives in meaningful ways, and I'm loving the music. And now, you know what? I'm writing lyrics that help people see life differently through the power of music, like the Red Pilled and stuff like that. And so for me, it's like, and also when I've run these workshops, I cared more about getting people to write their own lyrics and expressing their emotions. So suddenly the landscape of creativity is changing. We're bringing the artists down to everybody instead of having the idols. You see, are we protecting our artists, or are we realizing that everyone is an artist? There's a huge paradigm shift going to happen. It's a huge paradigm shift, and it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
So you know what? I'm copying a bit of flack for AI or whatever, but it is what it is.
Does that slow you down from posting, or do you continue?
I only sparingly share on Facebook based on stuff that I feel, you know what, this is too important, I'm going to share it.
Right.
But I found a place where I get to just get feedback because people don't really know me and they take the music on as what it is, and that's SoundCloud. So I've had 65,000 plays. And then I see which ones are charting and just keep getting reposted and shit liked and all that. So it gives me quality feedback around the power of what makes a song take off.
Right.
You see, so this is good feedback because, and you know what I've learned? And a friend told me this. They said, George, when you write songs, yours is like this dense, rich, multi-layered cake. It's so rich, you can only have a little bit at a time. But a lot of these songs, they're all fluffy and they're easy to digest, and you just listen to them, and they're not that dense in messaging. And I really, really appreciated that. And I thought, you know what? I will always have the coded, the dance, so you'll hear the song and then you'll start to realize things like poetry in music, right? Yep. But then I also know that I really love it when rent-free in your head, what you heard, that was still a bit dense, but it definitely had enough fluff for you to just enjoy it on that level as well. And I think I'm learning a lot about, when you write a song, what do you really want? Do you want it to have a relationship with the world, or are you just writing it for yourself?
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? Because half the time I'm honestly writing it for myself.
Yeah.
But then I want to learn how to write it for myself, but also give layers of entry to other people to have different types of relationship with it. So my best songs are strange because you can listen to it, take away a surface level, which is entertaining and still interesting, but then there's another level below that that's wow, mind-tripping, that it's getting you to think of life differently.
Yeah.
But you can enjoy the song no matter what layer you take from it.
I see.
So there's a lot there that I'm learning from the feedback, and it's really enjoyable. But I want to now go back to you saying that you've got, you're several hundred of your own family and you're keeping from sharing them the stuff that you're passionate about where you're creating stuff, right?
Do you know what one word that comes to my mind? Self-censorship.
Yeah.
It kills the creativity process.
It does, doesn't
Because
it?
so my niece, my nephew.
Because they're your tribe, dude. And you're
Are they? Do you know what I mean?
Well, they are, because they will be honest. They will
that's
say,
true. Maybe I'm afraid of the feedback.
yeah,
Who knows?
and you just got to accept all the feedback. And I mean, I learned a lot from Prince, and I was shocked at when he was an opening for the Rolling Stones. It was like this masculine rock energy of the Rolling Stones, imagine their following. And then all of a sudden Prince with his freaking weird stockings
Heels.
and shit comes on. And they threw shit at him.
Oh, wow.
They actually disrespected him and threw shit. But this was before he was well known, right? And now, can you imagine, right? You're an artist and you're getting humiliated, people throwing eggs and tomato, whatever they're throwing at him. And he ends up having to leave because he's getting bombarded. Now, think about it for a second.
That would destroy me.
This was the beginning of his career and he didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Because you have to be bigger than the feedback you get.
Ooh. You have to be bigger than the feedback you receive.
Yeah. And bigger is you connected to the core of who you really are, because the feedback can never ever taint the real you. It can only offer potential value of guiding the version you're in.
That's very powerful.
Because like if I give you feedback, I might be wrong in my feedback, but I could be right in my feedback. Like there could be value in it.
There could be a nugget there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like I think I've got value, which is why I'm giving you the feedback. But it's your responsibility to discern whether that value lands or not, or it can be used. And if we are always slipping into that, wherever we are offering is us, we get into trouble, because then the feedback is like getting stabbed. It doesn't work.
That could be the context shift I'm after.
Yeah.
My relationship with feedback.
Yeah.
That could be it.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. You remind me of that time in my life where I thought, oh shit, what am I going to do if I be this way? This was related to people pleasing. If I stop people pleasing, if I start to just go after what's important to me and be less sensitive to negative consequences and people's views of me, will I lose people that I value? Will I lose a lot of friendships? And I remember that moment, Azlan, it was huge for me, because I thought, oh gosh, if that's true, that I could lose people just by being myself, then I'm going to have to make a decision now. I'm going to have to go, I'm willing to lose everyone. Because if I can't go all in on being myself and then build a life from there, what kind of life am I building? And that really landed for me. It was huge. But I had to get big enough to know that life can't be that dumb and cruel and convoluted that I have to trade my soul just to have company and approval.
Yeah, I think I am afraid of losing a few people in that group, and that's why But like you said, if you don't find yourself, prioritize that over them, then there's also this thought that this is it. There's nothing outside of this that's better, like I'm losing these people and then I could potentially lose them. And then that's it. I can't find people like that anymore,
Yeah.
And
see, the temptation when you're being passive in that way is that if you persist with no mojo for too long, right? So you're suppressing your mojo, right? That eventually you will have enough. You'll be fed up. and you risk the counter swing to becoming aggressive and careless and not caring about anyone anymore. Now you're just the belligerent, almost like an Andrew Tate personality. But that's not you either.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be that kind of person. It's almost like it's a loaded decision. Both are rigged.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Pick your poison.
Yeah. Do you want people to like you at all costs, or do you not want to be liked at the cost of you being whatever you want to be? It's like, what kind of a decision is that?
Yeah. No, it's so true, man. It's so funny. For me, TikTok has been working for me. I'm getting hundreds of likes.
Awesome.
It's just next level, 700 likes and all that stuff.
What's your handle?
I call myself the real Azlan now.
The real Azlan.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit of a ironic brand name.
I had to do that.
The real Azlan that hides himself from his network.
No, there's that, and there is also who is the real Azlan? At what point are you asking that question? I gave it a bit of thought, man.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the real Azlan. And so I really struggled. So I posted it on Facebook and I cringed as I posted it, and I was like, here goes nothing, and then I post nothing. Second video, post nothing. Nobody really cares. But in my brain, I was, like you said, sometimes you come up with this thing you think is going to be it's going to attract all of this feedback, and nobody cares.
Yeah.
And then you do get a few, and the friends that like you message you and they go, man, keep it up, man. I love this stuff. And I think I was, and then I saw my I actually looked at my followers because I was expecting it to drop.
Yeah.
And it went up by 1. And I went, hold on. What is this? And it doesn't help that people at work tell you that as well. So some of the guys at work, my vendors, they heard about my YouTube, and, they go, oh, and then they tease you, oh, Azlan's going to be doing his YouTube again. Azlan, is that all you, is that all you do? And and so you're afraid that, is this a career limiting move? And so I've got some guys on Instagram who are from my workplace. And I'm like, man, there's so much risk here, but is it worth it to find myself? And they already know me. My YouTube channel is it's not like I have a corporate, persona there. It's all funny stuff anyway.
Yeah.
But there's this irrational fear. And I was talking to my friend, and he said, he has a separate identity on TikTok. But then he got to a point where he's going to post it on Instagram for his friends and family to see, because he finds it enjoyable to share his love for running. And he wants to share that joy with everybody else, regardless of what they think. So his context shift was there. I'm still trying to find mine, but I've got 4 videos now, 3 videos, and I think I'm getting there. And
I can see that.
Yeah, your relation. I think the context switch is my relationship to feedback.
Yeah,
there is a potential nugget there to be
bigger,
and to have a different relationship. It's almost like, someone might give me a good feedback that could completely shift on the way I do my comedy.
And can you allow people to have wrong feedback?
Yeah, for sure.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I mean, I
let me lean in. Just make sure. Azlan, are you okay with people being imperfect and they have their own views, and you're not going to be all things to all people?
Ask me that in 3 months. It's so interesting. Can I just share this story with you at work? At work, I did a change, and the feedback, then my change manager sent out a feedback form, and I could see all of this feedback coming in, 40. Boom, 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 boom. I did not open one. I did not even open one. And I found it confronting. I said, this is a bit confronting.
This is very telling.
Yeah.
So everyone who's listening to this, please bombard the comments with feedback. We need Azlan to know whether he's coming across as a try-hard loser or whether he is actually a very endearing character who you can easily relate to, even more than me, because he's just wears his heart on his sleeve, and he just shares based on where he's really at.
It's hard, man. It's hard.
So if you shut off the comments for this podcast, I'll be really pissed.
No.
Just kidding, as if you do that.
No, I won't. But yeah, I think I think that's where I can work on my relationship with feedback. And I didn't used to be like this. But
What changed?
I don't know. I think a few negative hits,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then you go, oh, damn it. And then
some people can be pretty vicious.
Yeah. I mean, at work it's pretty straightforward and vicious, and then it gives you it sort of chisels yourself through your self-esteem, and sometimes you wonder, am I doing this right? Am I really a good project manager? And then you start to, oh damn, but then I do great work. It's just that I'm like nervous now, and it affects Facebook and. Yeah, but I think Facebook and Instagram is completely the same. It's feedback, and it's about losing people that actually look up to me. Surprisingly enough, there are I think people who actually tell me, Azlan, but like now they're seeing this crazy version. I'm talking about bacon and guinea pigs and all sorts of weird stuff. What is your perception of me gonna be tomorrow?
Well, remember we talked about that we're going to evolve our podcast and add segments to it?
Yes.
I think we should just kind of like maybe get some feedback on that. But like I wanted you to, because you're such a biohacker, and I reckon people would love to hear the latest biohack tip from you in everyday life. Got any lately? This is Azlan's biohack tip for the week.
Well, this week, man, it still has to do with my walking. I figured out a way on how to silence the mind when I'm walking, because when you wake up in the morning, different feelings pop up depending on how stressed you were the day before, depending on how excited you are for today. And so every now and then, when you start off in a good foot, it's all great. But when you have that fear of like, because I've got a project change coming out on Monday, on Wednesday, and I'm nervous, and so the only way. So what happens is when you're feeling nervous, you walk, you get nervous thoughts. You get into this criticism defend mode. Yeah. No idea why. It's just, it reflects how you feel, right? Yeah. And so one thing I learned was how to shut it off. And not really shut it off, but to acknowledge it. I go, I know, I can feel it. Yeah. I see you, man, I see you. And then I go, okay. And sometimes you can self-soothe yourself into a different feeling. Yeah. But then there's sometimes you have to do this thing where I just stop and I focus on the wind on my face. And it only takes 60 seconds. Like I walk and I just hear a bird singing, or I hear the leaves rustling, or I look at the sky and just blank out. Literally just like sort of just go, okay, I see you. I understand. I love you. I'm here. But now I want to listen to, so don't deny it, but just acknowledge it. Yeah, validate it. Validate it. And then, okay, now I'm going to listen to the sound of the rustling leaves. And you walk 60 seconds. Boom. And then you self-soothe. It's a lot easier to self-soothe then. Yeah. And then suddenly you think about, oh, so I found that really worked for me. That's 60 seconds. Just literally, but it feels really long. And then you self-soothe, and then it's so much easier. And then you get to a point where you're like, next good thought. And then ideas pop in. And it's very good. It is biology hacking. Yeah, it is. So it's actually literally a biohack. What I like about what you just said is that after you validate, which is such an important step, because it's like you're not fighting your subconscious. You're just deciding, I get it. I am nervous. I'm a work in progress. And I accept that, you know. But then what happens is that you take your environment, which is pulsing, like the leaves have a rhythm to them. You know, the swaying branches have a rhythm to them, the wind, you know. And so when you let your physical senses tune into that, you get almost seduced into a calmer state. Yeah. And then that sends different signals to your brain. Oh. So what you're doing is you're directing your attention to your physical senses, and just by staying with nature, it soothes you. And I think that's a bit of a coincidence, because I'm going to now segue. I mean, I like this. What you've done is you've connected me to my phone, and this song came. I love guitarists. Can I let my silence guide me? What? Take me wherever it pleases.
voice releases. I am not analyzing my way to a new place anymore. I am learning to feel at home, walking into my core. I am in the trust that it wants to find me as much as I want to find it. I'm taking the steps to allow what wants to be and letting myself become it in my silence. My silence. Silence. Can I watch the waves crashing into the shore? See what persistence looks like, to know I can endure. I am not analyzing my way to a new place anymore. I am learning to feel.
So I'm learning to fade it out. Isn't that clever?
That is amazing. I completely resonated with that.
I know. And that's why, like, I'll send you that track. I actually listened to that track just before I came here.
Really?
Yeah.
That is insane. Did you just do that yesterday?
Last week.
Wow.
Silence. Because, like, oh my gosh, silence is the door.
Yes.
It's the door
Yes.
to metamorphosis. It's like, do you want your life to change? You can't change nothing until you change. And all you have to do is trust that there's a depth of you, an intuition that will see things differently and allow you to become what will change your reality. So leaning in, that silence is a beautiful, beautiful door. But how could you trust it? It's because you need to lean in and know that you are great.
Yes.
And whenever you are not feeling great, you have to get back to silence to connect to what's been there all along, which is your greatness, to become whatever is compatible for a breakthrough, for a dream. So society just doesn't love silence that much anymore. We're just so caught up in the noise of distraction, the dopamine hits, you know?
See, it's funny because silence is what made me realize that everyone, it helped me realize that everyone is good-natured, because when I was in silence, when I silenced my mind and everything was, I felt good about myself. I felt good about everything in the world. That's your default state, in that silent state. So then I went, if I feel like this, that means I'm inherently a good person. I was born because if I was inherently evil, when in silence, I will be evil. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then I went, this was like 10 years ago, and I went, everybody's good natured.
Yeah.
Through silence.
Yeah. They may not represent it because they got wound up and traumatized and taught coping mechanisms that are treacherous.
Yeah.
And yes, they can be theoretically talked down from that to better represent their good nature. And a lot of them may not use their free will and courage to go there. So you have to protect yourself from them. And a lot of them are so intensely traumatized that the odds of them changing, sadly, are very, very long odds. And so I get that world. We're not naive. But my goodness, the majority of people are just craving to be believed in. And if only we can be leaders to each other to help each other lean into that greatness so that everyone can feel the depth of love that they deserve to have from their environment, because people are looking for their greatness. They know it's there. And it's easier to facilitate something into existence if you know it's there. But if you're tricked into demonizing and, writing people off prematurely, then all we're ever doing is polarizing, chasing who's all good, which is no one, but then just putting everyone in the all bad box when they let us down too much,
Yeah.
It's so, And it's only a primal issue, you know, because we want certainty. It's like, where can I put you, Azlan? Can I put you in the good box or the bad box? It's like, I just want to know where to put you, because then I will know that I'm safe, you know, that you're for me, or are you against me?
Yeah.
It's like, well, maybe, just maybe on a bad day, Azlan's going to be against me in his bad mood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe in a phase of his life, he may misinterpret me in some ways. That then means I have to lean in and work through that with him to come out the other side aligned again. And maybe there's going to be a lot of phases where he's going to be awesome, you know? But I've got to stop putting Azlan in a box where he has to be all good. And, you know, you wonder, that's what we're doing to ourselves. We think we have to be all good.
Yeah.
For people, and therefore we think they have to be all good for us. That's just pedestal gymnastics.
Yeah, it's pedestal gymnastics. You're right. I mean, that's my fear for Instagram. I mean, that is the fear, that I'm being perceived as this guy's rubbish. You know, I looked up to him and he's full of shit. But it's an irrational fear. It's like I'm being afraid that I might get out of the good box. It's a self-imposed fear, and nobody really cares. But so yeah, it's so interesting. I'm really struggling with this Instagram issue. Morning.
How long has it been going on for?
Oh, just as a friend of mine asked me, why aren't you posting it on Instagram?
Yeah,
and I went,
ooh.
And I said, all right, let me pick the nice ones, the ones that I think are good, and let me post it.
Safe.
Yeah, so like in TikTok, anything that got more than 500 likes, I said, okay, let me take this one and put it there. And then I waited, and then 2 or 3 likes, and okay, great. But then I know as I keep posting that the few people in there, they're going to start looking, what is this Azlan posting every single day? Like, what is this? And then they're going to start to see how random I am. And then, oh, no, look, he's saying balls and dick and you know, shit. And I don't want my kid to.
Yeah.
Because their kids are following me.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not asking them to, but they're following. And they're like, am I going to be a good role model? Is this what I want to portray myself? Am I letting them down, you know, like my family down? Like
Azlan, that's a good point. And I think at one point what you do is you know your audience in a platform, and then you will allow the content to be challenging enough but respectful enough to, given you know in the audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you might do everything on TikTok, but you may decide to only do 80% of that content on Instagram. There's room there for tailoring too, you know? Because these little phrases, like I said, motherfucker, before, you know, because I was just caught up in the passion of what the song was, the mood it was in. But that's not something I would say normally in a podcast.
Yeah.
To the point where I was going to ask you, oh, maybe we need to beep that. That was not me, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, well, who is me?
Yeah.
You know, like, get stuffed.
Yeah.
You know, like, who is me?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know.
I think if you don't use it in ill intent, so I always ask myself, am I being derogatory to another person? But usually it's just a form of expression, you know. Like I'm not saying, you know, that guy's a faggot, and I'm not insulting. That's not the nature of my channel, right? I'm more like, sometimes I joke like, balls, or like, you know, and it's.
You think that's a big deal?
I'm in a village of churchgoers.
Okay, sorry. Everything is relative, isn't it?
Yeah.
George. You have no nuance around my actual context of life.
And they're all different. And every now and then when I'm in their house,
balls.
I'll be like, oh, God damn it. And they look at me.
Did you
And
just use the God's name in vain?
And they were like, why do you always have to swear? And I'm like, oh, damn it. But
you go again.
yeah. And so when I'm conscious now, because like of where I am staying now with, you know, churchgoers and all of that and the kids, and Azlan, just don't say certain things, or like, oh, God damn it. Oh, damn it, I did it again. But the kids don't mind it.
Is there confession at your church? Can you confess?
Oh, I'm not Christian, but you know, they all go to church.
Oh, they all go to church. All right, okay.
And so I have to be careful.
Because I was going to say, like, if you had confession, you could say, oh, I've said balls.
yeah, that's and the priest is like, stop wasting my time, man. Is that it?
But the priest goes, "Oh, Azlan, you're just too much. Seriously, I have to confess for being impatient with you with the other priest."
Yeah, it's funny. But yeah, I'm getting over it, and I'm trying to figure out where the nugget is, where the context shift is, and I think being uncomfortable is a sign that there is growth here.
Yeah,
And I have
totally.
to go. I have to go, man. Like I have to try this. Who cares? I might lose people. But it's definitely an area of growth. And I think I like what you said about feedback. I'm gonna take that on, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna today, after this, I'm gonna go into my inbox. I'm gonna open a few of those feedback forms because I heard there were quite some really negative ones there. Like, why am I even doing this? You know, and like I'm gonna have to I'm gonna read through each of them and go, okay.
I have to say to you, like, we ran a pilot program recently, and we got negative feedback. We got lots of positive feedback, and we got negative feedback. And I almost learned more from the negative feedback, and it evolved where we're headed even more. Like, I needed that negative feedback. It didn't surprise me, but what it did was it consolidated the direction with more clarity, more confidence, and it changed me for the better. Like, feedback, food. It's meant to be food. It's a feedback loop. It's the evolution model of an organism. You cut its feedback, it will go extinct. It's just the mechanism.
I love what you did there. Did you just think about that just then?
No, it's well known.
Oh, right.
People play on that food feedback. But it's good for you to know that now, because you will love the word feedback because you don't want to go hungry.
Yeah.
Right? You want to go hungry and not be given evolution food. It's evolution food. Do you want to keep evolving?
I think you've just changed my relationship to feedback.
Just like that, huh? It's like a magician's trick.
You're right as well. A lot of the negative posts that I get does help me that, to evolve my content. Those are the ones that help me evolve. The rest are just
Totally.
like a pat on the back.
Totally. And look, you didn't come this far without feedback. Everything that gave you progress was feedback.
That's true.
But you have a complicated relationship with a subset of feedback around your relationships with your family, friends, and network. And if you then think to yourself, do I want to grow congruent so that I am being myself in meaningful ways everywhere without this nonsense of compartmentalization, where I feel fractured, where I'm not allowed here or there to just be, what is authentic to me, then yes, you now need the feedback around what's causing it, what's causing you to be fractured, And so it's like a wormhole, isn't it?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so you get feedback from people, and look, when I said to you that I was willing to lose everyone, and I had to have that line in the sand, how many did I lose?
Probably none.
Yeah, about none. And I think I lost 2 or 3 or 4 over time that I think I was going to lose anyway.
Right.
Because they just didn't align.
Yeah.
It was just ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like there was 0 genuine consequence for me deciding I mattered and that I can be things that are important to me and allow people not to like it. And for me to understand why they don't like it and use any value that comes from that to make me even better for me and them. But anything where I noticed is just not landing for me to the best of my humble ability, I have to keep at the door if that feedback is not sticking in any meaningful, useful way. I just have to allow that process. And once again, it's like, are my roots deep enough to withstand the wind of criticism? Because that tree can handle wind. Wind is pushing you. It's saying, hey, I want you to fall over.
Yeah.
Right? It's like my feedback is going to make you fall over. Right? And then you go, tell me more. Tell me more why you think that. Now look at the branch, because when I was listening to silence on my way here, I was looking at I was looking at a tree that was dancing in the wind, where all its branches were just gracefully moving in different directions. It looked incredible.
Right.
And it's like, look at the grace of tolerance of these branches that know how to let the wind push enough, but it knows how to stop gracefully and then counter back and swing the other way so it doesn't swing too far. It's like, so what would that look like as an algorithm for feedback? It'd be like this. I listen to you, so you're pushing your view to me, and I'm listening to you, and it's pushing me back because it's saying to me, you need to be different. So I'm allowing the messaging to push me back. And then I say, tell me more, because I really want to understand what kind of pushback this is. And then I go, your feedback, it means this to me, ... And then I've moved back, changed from the feedback I benefited from you, or, hey, your feedback means this to me, and I realize that you're coming from a good place, but you didn't realize this, and this of why I do that. So I'm not changing, but I'm really appreciating that you cared and you were giving me feedback. So worst case scenario is you just show compassion and gratitude to the person who gave you feedback because they thought it was of value to you. And then when you leaned in deep enough, you found out they were missing a lot of information and context. So you furnish him with it and they go, oh, that makes sense, right?
Right. But if they say no, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter either, does it?
No. So if they say, no, I didn't care about your context, my feedback sticks, say, no, I get that, but I'm not going to do anything with that feedback until it makes more sense to me.
Right.
That's called a boundary. Now, if they jump up and down and go, no, my feedback needs to be the most important thing in the world, and you need to be very afraid of my feedback and do what I say. It's like, yeah, nah. Nah.
Yeah.
No, because you've just disqualified yourself from having credibility in my life by behaving this way.
Yeah.
It's like a tantrum with a toddler spitting his dummy out the cot, you know? But most people won't be like that most of the time. Most people are actually they don't want conflict. And if they feel like their feedback missed the mark, but you still were kind and tolerant and grateful, they're grateful. They go, oh, look, I really thank you so much for taking that feedback well. And now I can see now why you're doing it that way and why my feedback didn't land. But that is very impressive when our character can handle feedback that way, worst case scenario.
I'm going to have to rewatch this because there's a lot of golden nuggets there that I think I'm going to implement. But let's do a live feedback session. So I want to give you feedback about your music.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Here we go.
No, let's test this. Let's test this. Okay. First of all, I want to start off by saying that I really want you to succeed in, success. Personally, I know you already have that with your music because it resonates so well with you.
Yeah.
But the relationship with the world, the people like me and my wife, my wish for you is to have people like us going, let's download that music.
Yeah, gotcha.
You know what I mean? I want you to succeed there.
Yeah.
But one thing, the music I found that resonated with me are the ones that are most simple in the wording, in the phrasing.
It's that fluffy cake example, not the too much dense lyrics.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's why that Celsius and the silence, it's almost like 6 words every bar that it really, but when it goes more, I feel like there's too much and I have to focus. And then I move away from the focus, from the feeling. Those 2 tracks, I could feel it.
Yeah.
But when there's too much words, I am out of my feeling, trying to focus. And I don't know why my brain does that. I just realized that when it goes too much, I'm trying to listen, but I cut off from my feeling.
Yeah.
So
that's really great feedback.
Oh.
And that consolidates my understanding of when I write a song, is it really just for me?
Yeah.
Versus, is it really, do I want my music to have a relationship with the world? Right. Because there's a song called Wet, Blurry, Bright Lights. Did I bring that up before?
No.
So Wet Blur is the number one out of the 70 tracks odd that I've uploaded to SoundCloud.
Can we hear that?
Yeah. And it's number one because it's made you probably now going, well, what's made that number one? And it's because it's so relatable.
Relatable is the other one as well.
But also the lyrics, they don't. Sorry.
In my rearview mirror, keep reminding me I won't be seeing you ever again, ever again. I'm moving on from you, moving on for good. They tried to warn me you were no good. They
Simple.
didn't see the parts of you I could.
Nice.
So many glimpses of what could have been. The second I opened to finally see, you couldn't even measure up to your own expectations. You knew how to seal your fate with those lame justifications. With so much fear, so much doubt, my world was spinning as I walked out. With blurry bright lights in my rearview mirror, keep reminding me I won't be seeing you ever again, ever again. I am moving on from you.
This is a good example.
Moving on for good. So much love when you were in the mood. Hysterical laughter, aching bellies after. I hope you miss me like I think you should. I did so much for you, but you made it win-lose. You couldn't even measure up to your own expectations. You knew how to seal your fate with those lame justifications. With so much fear, so much doubt, my world was spinning as I walked out. With blurry bright lights in my rearview mirror, keep reminding me I won't be seeing you ever again, ever again. I am moving on from you, moving on for good. I feel different now, like it's really it this time. It was that look when I caught my eyes in the mirror. Too numb from the hurt, from too many lies, too many times burned. I tried to change you, thought you wanted to. I gave way too much, but giving was a rush that spoiled you rotten. Now I've removed the cotton and removed myself. Soon you'll be long forgotten. You couldn't even measure up to your own expectations. You knew how to seal your
So there you go.
Yeah, I mean,
So I learned from that song it just rocketed up as the
Right.
number one. And then the other song that's number two is Cruising the Long Roads. And it's a story and you can keep up with it in the same way. So I'm learning a lot around distill it down
Yeah.
to just beautiful, soothing phrases that the person can
Relate.
not cognitively have to work hard to connect to so they can stay in the feeling of the song.
right.
So you gave me the ability to even explain that even better by you just giving me that feedback.
And one thing, another feedback that came to me when I was
Yeah.
listening to that, I remembered the parts that I could hum easily.
Yeah,
But if it's like, if you can hum it, it will stick.
yeah,
Like from memory, you know, like if I could na, 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 na.
yeah.
That's easy. Like
Yeah.
that will stick.
Yeah, I know.
You know, so like anyway, so that's my honest feedback to you, which is, and I'm so glad. Your stuff, man, is just amazing. Like your progress and how you change the lyrics, like that Celsius one, that Silence one, just blew me away,
Yeah.
man.
The thing is, though, Azlan, think about it. If we are too hypersensitive to criticism, we're less likely to give other people timely feedback because we think we're going to insult them or upset them.
Cue in Azlan's life. I
So
give
you
my
end up-
wife feedback and my son, but
But
not
you feel
work.
safe there.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you're muting your sharp mind and how helpful it can be.
You are right. I thought that was great feedback. Like, and now I think about it, but I've never said this to anyone at work. I don't give feedback to people at work, ever.
Oh my gosh, like you've just throttled your leadership.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Like, imagine that. You're a leader, but you're not allowed to upset anyone.
Wow.
But being upset is because we as humans are always struggling with, we are not what we're being. We are that which can be anything. And a leader puts the pressure on people while holding the space that they are amazing, puts pressure on them to know that they can be even better. And they then get to prove they care, to be humble, to be courageous, to be, determined, to test the new way they want to be with your guidance, to see whether it works, and then keep testing until they get there. And it's like leadership is movement into a meaningful direction. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And feedback, it's like what's happened to us as a humanity? We're so hypersensitive to feedback, And hypersensitive in an insecure way.
Yeah.
And we should be hypersensitive in an exciting way.
I am so excited now about this because I found it's almost like a new path that it's because of this fear. I've just learned something new about myself that I'm going to not master, but pursue.
Yeah.
I'm going to go deep dive into this because, I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling like I've got this new path that just opened up, It's like almost a new road and I'm going, oh, what is that? And I'm at the start of that road. I'm excited to go in.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting? It's like my lyrics writing took 100 songs to finally get to a special place where this type of feedback is starting to consolidate and land, so that the next 100 is going to be like that wet, blurry, bright. Like Silence was written last week, Celsius the week before. Like
it's trending.
Like something is evolving, distilling. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Rent Free in your head, I find, was good enough. You didn't have to catch some of the clever things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's good to have little pockets of a bit of lyric gymnastics. So the person goes, "What did you just say there?" What is it?
It's like a golden nugget as opposed to the whole song.
Yeah. So you can have that little bit of you cruise through, but there's this what's under this little phrase? What's under that?
Yeah.
I don't mind that, but I agree with you that the song in its majority of structure must have those elements of simplicity and rhythm and melody and phrasing that helps the person just keep feeling it.
Yes.
Because everything is about the feeling.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Like sometimes I don't even listen to the lyrics. I just follow the humming in the song and the feeling that it gives me.
I know.
There's this song.
I was the same growing up when I was younger. I didn't really pay too much attention to the lyrics, yet I would love the song so much.
Yeah, like that Spice Girls song. Like, I didn't know it was about sex.
Which song is that?
Something. I really, really want. How do you sing that song? I wanna, ziggy, 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 Like, I didn't know it was like, I wanna have sex, but it was just, to me, that whole song was about sex.
I had no idea either.
Yeah.
And this is the thing about what I like about music. You could say something which is the opposite to the feeling of the way it's delivered, and it creates such a crazy cool, what do you call that? Juxtaposition. When you're contrasting something and delivering it. Like, for example, if you're angry, but the way you deliver it is like you're cool. It contrasts it really cool. But I didn't know that.
If You Want to Be My Lover, that's the song.
If you want to, yeah, right.
Well, maybe it's just that part that was talking about sex, but I didn't know it. I thought it was Ziggy's. I thought it was just a catchy phrase. I didn't know it was like, I want to have, So
Yeah.
it was really interesting. Now that you listen back to all the old songs and you didn't understand what the hell they meant back in the day. It was just the rhythm, and you can like hum it, and that's when it sticks. So yeah, I mean,
and look, I know that a relationship with the world can only scale to the level of relevance and relatability you can deliver, right? Which means when we are finding our feet, when we're trying to express depths of us and learn how to express things that are really important to us that take time to mature and finesse, the world will be a little bit confused in that, and the world will not be able to embrace us the way it wants to. In other words, everybody wants relationships. We are built for relationships. A relationship with ourselves, each other, our bodies, with ideas. Existence is relationships, right? Even my relationship with this microphone and hearing the feedback, everything is relationships, right? And so once we appreciate that being an artist is crafting meaningful relationships, right? So who am I to dictate what song you should like? I will never be able to dictate what song you should like. You, with your beautiful free will decide what songs you like, why you like them, why you don't. And my job is to just love learning where people are at with what relationships they like and don't like, and then decide what relationship I want to have with that.
those are very deep words.
But you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like, do I want to hang around with those people? No, I don't. I want to have a relationship of distance with those people. That's a legitimate relationship.
Yeah, you're right.
Because we're all interconnected.
Yep.
You can stay away from people, but you still have a relationship with them because it's called a distant relationship without words, But, you run the risk that they're still going to live rent-free in your head, right? So,
If you allow it, yeah.
if you allow it. And but ultimately, you're deciding.
This is very relatable to what I'm doing with my videos because it's the same with music as well. But so you create the video, you have a relationship I have a relationship with my flow state.
Yeah.
And that I churn, and then my relationship with the video is, by the time the video is just a snapshot of my flow at the time, right? So I'm creating the video, the juice is all gone by then. I mean, it was all during the walk then, and typing that was great. Anyway, so then I create the video and I keep creating videos and then I publish it. And then I find that certain topics resonate with others. So they're creating a relationship with that video that's related, that they resonate with.
Yeah.
And then they give me feedback, and then it's up to me to then the relationship with that feedback and that person. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to full circle it in my brain.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so ideas are interconnected to give you a sense of identity, a body, and then you're able to then go, how can I then use ideas to interact with other people that creates a relationship between you and them? And then they use their ideas that form their identity, their lived experience. And then they go, let me see with my ideated form how I interact with your ideated form.
Ooh.
And then that
collaboration.
That's like an alchemy. That's like a chemical reaction of, ooh, I just had this experience of alignment with you on these ideas. And that person goes, oh, I like that. I want to keep it. I'm going to put it in my playlist. You see what I mean? Right? So it's like, oh, so you're now creating forms that people want to build on. They built it in their playlist. If it's music, they built it in their subscription to keep watching your videos and sharing them with their community, so what is building here? Because we are creatures, not creatures, so to speak, because that's normally to do with organisms that just want to survive, but we are kind of like entities ideating our form of identity. We are that. who are trying to expand. Everything's expanding. And expansion is where you've created something that has legacy. In other words, it holds in the soul of others as something that's cherishable, right? So you could write a book and then now suddenly everyone in the world knows about that book and it's well known. So it has a legacy to it. It's an expansion. I honestly believe that individuals are designed to entrepreneur value for themselves and their communities. And the better they do it, the more it expands in influence to the point of global legacy.
Ooh.
I honestly believe every individual is designed to matter to the level that they align with the purity of creating meaning that sticks for others and them.
Ooh.
And to me, that is a work in progress for us to get good at, to educate our younger children into that humanity benefit from finally having equality and dignity to go, why have we all got brains? Why do we all have hearts and desires? Why do we all come with our individuality and see things so differently? And why are we so similar in our depth of wanting sustainable value exchanges? Like all these questions will weave into, oh my gosh, this is meant to be a playground for us to thrive and expand for each other instead of this weird thing we do with polarization.
Right. No, very, very good points. There's just so many good parts to this. I'm just in awe. Like this is great.
The thing is, Azlan, it all boils down to, where is my pain coming from?
Yeah.
Because if I feel pain and I lean into why I'm feeling that pain, just like on that walk where you validate, the growth will come through that pain. So our pain tolerance, if we numb the pain, we don't grow.
Yeah.
If we feel the pain and then tantrum because it shouldn't be there, we don't lean in and grow. So pain is feedback, and our body's saying, I feel pain, I'm not aligned, I'm malnutrition, I'm not getting enough vitamin D. There's feedback from the body constantly. And what are we doing, even with our relationship with our own body, then alone other people's feedback? It's like feedback is 360, and there's a journey for us to finally just take in our environment and learn so much from it. The classroom is in the moment,
Yep.
and there's so much to learn.
It's so interesting you talk about the feedback of the body. But yeah, I think today's theme is really about feedback.
Yeah.
It started with AI and then it went to feedback.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I feel so much more comfortable now with posting on Instagram.
So do you think you've reached a tipping point?
I'm close.
He's close.
I'm very close.
And that's the thing. I don't think you'll ever get to certainty because it's a new experience.
Yeah.
And so I always talk about there's a gap between theory and then you actually finding out reality, right?
Right.
And it's the test. It's like, I think this should be fine. It's a calculated risk. Let me find out. And so you're at a point now where I feel like it's becoming a very calculated risk.
Yeah.
And you just want to lean in a little bit more and go, you know what? I now know I'm ready for any type of feedback, even though I feel nervous of what it might be. And that's good enough. Because if you really think about it, every breakthrough came from the butterflies, the nervousness just before you made that plunge. So it's very natural. If you put pressure on yourself to remove all, nervousness, then gosh, we would never get there, would we?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm okay with this state, being at this state now, with a bit of fear, but also an understanding, a deeper understanding now in my relationship with feedback. And now I'm going to seek not help, but like guidance on, because I have access to leadership coaches.
Yeah.
And I'm in a leadership course right now actually, and I'm gonna go ask how do I give feedback, because that's like you said, I have good feedback, and because we observe people and behavior so much and patterns.
Yeah.
I'm, how do you call it, like limiting the feedback that I could potentially change this person's life.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to give it to him, even though I observe it, and I'm not from a non-judgmental place, which is the best feedback. Sometimes you think about it, right? Like this person, because I can look and then go, okay, this person, I see this is where he can excel, but I don't never say it. I don't pull him into a room and say, hey man, I don't do that. I never do that. Why? I've just limited this person. I just stopped him from being the best, or being a better. I mean, like, yeah.
Well, everyone's on a path to the next version that's going to better serve them.
Yeah.
And do you want to be a leader that facilitates that transition?
I'm robbing them of their growth. Is how I.
Why are you so cruel and selfish? Did you know that? Did you know by the end of this podcast we would land on that feedback?
That is insane, isn't it? Like I thought not giving them feedback is being nice.
Yeah.
When really it's not.
Nice to who? Nice to you, avoiding confrontation?
Yeah.
But look, in fairness to you, because you were afraid of feedback, you were being nice to them. Because you projected onto them the same attitude you had of feedback.
Yeah.
Which is it's scary, it hurts, and you don't want to hurt anyone. And so when you really look under the hood properly, you go, what the? I'm slowing my growth down and I'm slowing everyone else's growth down. So really, before you rush off giving feedback to anyone, you need to lean in and go, who am I that can complicate feedback? And that's not really me. So why am I being that? And use that feedback to guide you into a feedback machine.
I see what you're saying.
In a good feedback machine. And definitely use these leaders to give you what they know in best practice are great techniques of how to give good feedback. And a lot of it you'll probably go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. I've heard that before. But at least you're now bringing that in as your toolkit for the leader you want to be. I honestly believe everyone's meant to be a leader in the context of their transformation and the people they care about playing their role of facilitating. There's leadership that is meant to be for everyone on all spectrums of being empowered for purpose.
I love it.
Well, we've done well.
I think we have.
So if this is about feedback, why don't we look at how to give great feedback in the next podcast?
Sure.
And because let's make it practical.
Yeah.
And I reckon what will come with that, with the how, is we may also deepen the why. The why of feedback, the why of who we are, because the more we distill who we really are, the clearer and the more intuitive that feedback will be, because it just aligns so authentically. Let's see if that makes sense.
I think that would be a good one, because I now have so many questions. When do you provide feedback? When you're being asked, or when you just pull a person in and say, hey, this is my thoughts, when he didn't ask for it? Anyway, this is a whole...
Oh, you're right. There's a whole world of, but what if? With all the what ifs.
Yeah.
And
we can deep dive into that.
Yeah, that'll be really good.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks
for joining us.
Thanks for joining us this week, guys.
You know what was interesting? We didn't even discuss what we were going to discuss in this podcast. No. I forgot it was being recorded. I'm just having a conversation with you around, oh shit, I did this song. Natural. I did this song and check this out. And
we didn't even do the entry, the intro.
That's top and tail.
That's how we got into it straight.
Oh yeah, we initially were going, let's do a top and tail. Yeah. And then I said, pass me the phone. And then I went, you want to hear this song? Rent free yet? All good. Well, thank you for joining us, and ciao for now. Thank you for joining the Reinvent You show.
And remember, don't take yourself or life too seriously.